Hi, it's Jane and Ronan for the Healthier You show. Today we're going to discuss overcoming roadblocks to some healthy eating. First of all, let's get into the medical disclaimer. Always check with your physician before starting any exercise, dietary program. Information here is my personal research into different health topics and is not to be considered medical advice. Some of us find getting into a point where we are working on doing a healthier eating, that sometimes there are some roadblocks. So let's kind of discuss some of those. Healthy eating can help you lose or maintain weight, feel better and overall, and possibly decrease chances of having certain diseases. So making smart food choices, no matter what your age, is important. But healthy eating can be difficult, even if you know which foods you should buy. Oh boy, and prepare. Your budget, physical issues, mood changes, and dietary restrictions can be roadblocks to eating food that is best for you. So here are some suggestions for dealing with some of those common problems that can make it harder for older adults to follow through on smart food choices. Trying to eat healthy on a budget, even when you know which healthy foods to choose. People living on a fixed or limited income may not be able to buy food that's ideal. Start by deciding on how much you can afford to spend on food. And of course, there are a number of resources that can help you plan a food budget, such as the USDA Department of Agriculture. Iowa State University has something called Spend Smart, Eat Smart program. And there they have some pretty inexpensive recipes that you can do that also has the nutrition information and generally a rough cost per serving. And by saying rough cost, it'll give you dollar signs, whether it's a 1, 2, 3, 4. I think 4 was the highest. So, and most of those are just $1 sign. Once you've decided on your budget, look for a grocery store. Advertisements sometimes are great ways to check those out, or check online to see what's on sale. Try to plan some meals around featured items and consider purchasing extra non-perishables such as canned goods when they're on sale. Use coupons wherever possible. Ask your grocery store staff if they have a senior discount or a loyalty rewards program. I have a hit or miss with loyalty rewards program because the loyalty rewards program, one of my local stores here, you gain points for it. But the problem with that is with these points, you have to buy a lot of groceries. So, but sometimes it does help because it'll give you a lower cost, and they do have some internal coupons that'll help. Consider buying store brand products, which are often the same as more expensive brand name ones. And that's the absolute truth. A lot of these companies that, Libby's and what's the other one? Green Giant and Hanover's. A lot of those companies also can the same thing, but put it under the label of your store. So just kind of be aware of that. Many nutritious fruits and vegetables, such as bananas, apples, oranges, lettuce, green peppers, and carrots, can be reasonably priced. The other thing is learn some new cooking skills. Refresh those you might not have used for a while. Borrow cookbooks. Check them out from the library. Check to see if your library has any online. that you might be able to use. And there are some meal delivery systems, if you can afford them, but I find those expensive, that will give you step-by-step instructions, and they also give you pre-portioned ingredients. Sometimes local grocery stores have cooking classes or nutrition classes. Check with your local stores to see if they do. In our stores, we have one called Wegmans Giant. And then local is Weiss Markets. Save a Lot is in our area, and sometimes you can get some really good deals on meats and vegetables. And I think the larger stores all have some kind of nutrition program. The Weiss store in my local area, the nutrition, the person that does the teaching is not necessarily a nutritionist. However, they can go through the store and show you things to look for, lower prices, and good items to purchase for a budget. So just keep that in mind. And if you're tired of cooking, have you considered potluck meals? Invite your friends over and everybody up, bring a pot of something and have fun. Of course, there are also, when you get through with the meal, there may be some leftovers to share. One of the other things you might consider is check into your senior centers, see if they offer maybe even just a meal during the day. Our local senior center does offer a meal. They do ask for a donation for that meal. And most of the time, it's not a bad meal. Do say most of the time. Sometimes it's questionable. Some of the other things are look to see if there are churches around you that offer meals. I know that in most cities, Salvation Army offers at least a meal at noon. Soup kitchens, those are some things to consider. And here is the best thing about that whole thing is you're going to have lots of people to talk with while you're there. And that's not a bad thing because we all need socialization. Do you have problems chewing or swallowing food? Oh, there is also, I think the website is eldercarelocator.com that can help you find centers that are available in your area. The only other thing I would suggest is look to see if there are any free food pantries. A lot of food pantries are income-based. There are some that are free, that are not based on your income, but you do need to look around for those and see if there are any available. Do you have problems chewing or swallowing foods? Lots of times that has to do with problems with your teeth or dentures, so you're going to miss out on a lot of nutrients. So if you do have dentures, make sure you see your dentist to see if your fit for your dentures is correct. As we get older, our gums recede, and that changes the fit of your dentures. If you have problems getting food stuck in your throat or you have a hard time swallowing, it may be that you don't have enough saliva in your mouth. Other reasons may be muscles or nerves in your throat, and you may need to talk with your doctor about that, and you may need to have a GI consult to see if you have some gastro reflux going on. Because sometimes that happens. Physical problems such as Parkinson's disease, stroke, arthritis sometimes makes it harder for you to cook for yourself, feed yourself. There are occupational therapists you can go through your doctor. There are splints that can be given to help you with eating, and extra exercises, those kind of things. Sometimes it's just having a special utensil that's going to make it easier with the food preparation or whatever. Now, as we get older, sometimes our taste buds change. Not only that, but our sense of taste, smell, both sometimes goes away or changes. So there are a lot of individual reasons for that. Sometimes it's medication that you're taking. But here's one thing that they do suggest is to add fresh herbs, spices, or lemon juice to your plate and see if that will help. Smoking and drinking alcohol can also affect your sense of taste, so it may be beneficial for you to think about quitting if you do either one of those. And also smell, that alcohol does affect that sometimes. So if you do drink quite a bit of alcohol or alcohol in general, you may want to consider cutting back on that. Now, of course, we've talked about medications. Sometimes that will make your mouth dry and reduce your appetite too. I think the biggest thing that a lot of people, they don't realize with the Ozempics and the Mounjaro and all of those, that they're considered weight loss injections. One of the things that the way that it works is to cause you to not be as hungry. Sometimes it gives you, I'm just going to put this out there. It will give you the sensation of gastroparesis in its mildest form, which sometimes is nausea, loss of hunger, loss of appetite, throwing up even to some points. So just keep that in mind if you're using any of those drugs. They also say a lot of these things is a common culprit seems to be grapefruit juice. Now, I don't know where you can get grapefruit juice. I've not had it around here, but I do know I like grapefruit, but because I'm on thyroid medication, I avoid it. Although you can eat grapefruit, you just have to time it properly. Chocolate, licorice, alcohol, or some of those other things that will mess with some of the drug food things. If you're not hungry, changes to your body as you age can cause a lot of you to feel full sooner than what you were when you were younger. So lack of appetite can be a side effect of the medicine you're taking, but also your age. So talk with your doctor about that to find out if that is what's going on with you. The other thing is, if you are experiencing not being as hungry or feeling fuller sooner, and I would say a lot of that depends on your age. It's not a bad thing to take back half the meal, eat half, then eat the other half later. And one of the things they also suggest is try to get more active. That may help with your appetite as well. If you aren't hungry because food just isn't appealing, there are ways to make it a little more interesting. Make sure it's seasoned well, but not by adding extra salt. Try using lemon juice, vinegar, or herbs to boost the flavor. I do see a lot of people as they get older salting things before they even taste it. Now, luckily for me, I don't really care for adding salt to a lot of things. Occasionally I will add salt, but very rarely. One of the things that I don't like about a lot of places when they serve you potatoes is they do some salting, like if you've gotten fries, whether they're oven fries or deep fried, they are just swimming in salt. I like being able to taste the potato without the salt. So many times when I go someplace And if fries are on the side, I will say without salt. And they generally make it without salt. Or without adding salt. Let's put it that way. If it is frozen, it does already have some salt because it's normally soaked in a saline solution. So there is some salt that's already in there. Vary the shape, color, and texture of the food you eat. Look for a new vegetable, fruit, or seafood you haven't tried before, or one that you haven't eaten in a while. And also check your grocery stores, see if they have some recipe cards there, or ask the staff even for suggestions about how to prepare the food. Foods that are overcooked tend to have less flavor. Try cooking or steaming your vegetables for a little bit of a shorter time and see if that gives you a crunch that you may like. You never know. I used to have a lot of people give me grief about okra. I love okra. I don't care how you cook it. You can cook it till it's slimy. You can cook it deep fried, coated in flour. Doesn't matter. I love okra. But my favorite way with okra is lightly steamed, where it still has a bit of a crunch. And sometimes if you're sad, depression, you're not going to want to eat. So talk with someone about that depression. If you have food allergies or dietary restrictions to certain foods, that also is going to cause some issues. And some of those dietary restrictions may be for religious, ethical, or personal reasons. It is possible to choose some healthy foods. There are a lot of different supplements you can use instead of, if you can't take milk, there are some lactose-free milks and milk products. Gluten, those things seem to be cropping up a lot more nowadays. Vegetarian, vegan, there are quite a few resources online for both of those. So just be sure to check those out and to do that a little more often. Lost my train of thought there. Sorry about that, folks. But just check into these things. Check to see if your doctors have some suggestions, pamphlets. Look at a lot of different resources online to see what's available, to see if they can give you some suggestions. The biggest thing that I have found many times is just changing things up. I like a lot of ginger when I'm doing stir fries. Maybe you should add some ginger to it, see how it goes. Whether it's powdered or regular ginger, just try something different every once in a while. I saw a recipe online, and I think it's at the Iowa website, and I'm going to leave a link down below. I believe it's for apple, bell pepper, salad. And I'm not sure if it has cabbage in it or what, but there is a dressing you make that goes over it, and it sounds pretty good. So I have everything that I need for that except for the feta cheese. I do use feta cheese. If you don't like feta cheese, use some other different cheese. Okay? So I am going to try that because it just sounds interesting, and I would like to see what it tastes like. I have a friend that makes what she calls an everything salad. Everything but the sink. She just takes a head of lettuce, regardless of what kind of lettuce it is, puts everything in it. Onions, celery. If she has an orange, she'll cut up an orange, put the orange in it. Raisins, nuts, mushrooms, avocado, whatever she has in the house, she'll throw it into that salad. Chops up the salad very fine And let me tell you, then she uses a red wine vinaigrette on it. And when we had our senior meal, she brought that. And this time, all she had was she'd picked up a package of the Cara oranges. And those are some of my favorite oranges. And she just cut up, I think, 2 or 3 of them in this big, huge bowl. And let me tell you, that salad was gone pretty quick. And it was delicious. And, I mean, there may have been a bite where you got some avocado, may have got some mushroom, nuts, cranberries, raisins, carrots. Although, she did her carrots a little differently. They were like little chips. A lot of people shred them, and I don't mind having shredded carrots. But she did them like in chopped carrots, but the round pieces were cut up into smaller pieces. So, I mean, it was delicious. Bell peppers, you name it, she had it in it. So try something different. See if that works. See if that helps. If you're having issues, the main thing is to look into things that are low cost. And both the USDA, they both have booklets about thrifty eating. And they have a lot of recipes in there. You may want to try some of those recipes and see how it goes. Or come up with a concoction on your own. You know, if you've got a can of beans and a can of corn and maybe some stewed tomatoes, I don't know, you might want to mix all that together with some other spices and have you a different side, or even make it a meal since it's got beans in it. But also, check to see if you qualify for SNAP benefits if your income is at what they call the poverty level. So check to see that. And I think I want to say the poverty level for one person is $25,000 a year and under. And there are a lot of senior folks that qualify that. Don't be afraid to apply for those. It's there for a reason. And I've heard a lot of stuff about them cutting funds for USDA and food banks. And so far I haven't been seeing that. I know the food bank where I go to, a lot of their donations come from local stores. And the most food banks that they've got that come from the USDA are like canned goods. For the most part, they do get canned goods for that. So I think that's the only difference there. And of course, when you get there, they've got, you never know what you're going to get each month. Let's just put it that way. So do check in, see if you qualify for those programs. If you do not qualify for those programs and you still find your budget is tight, check in to see if there are free food pantries around you. Oftentimes there are. They're just not well advertised. And these are based on donation-only type food pantries. And many times they are located within a church. So, yeah, keep that in mind. All right, guys, that is it for today's video. I hope this gives you a couple of ideas to look at and things to try. But I would hope that you would check out that food source. And I think I also put on there myplate.gov as well. That's another place to get some recipes and to get some thrifty budget meals in there. All right, everybody, have a great week. I'll see you again next week for a healthier you. And in the meantime, try to do something kind today. See you guys soon. Bye.